Hello and welcome to the Brain Center channel for our first ever video, a project called Simplicity Neuroplasticity, where we learn how to protect our brain, something that you might not have known is needed, but is absolutely critical if you want to live a happy life, especially as you get older. So let's start off by introducing the topic itself. So common symptoms of brain diseases would be if you've ever walked into a room and then as you walked into there, you forgot why you were there, or forgot someone's name, like a friend or a family member that you should remember. And a lot of people ignore that. Mm, Do you think that these problems are relevant to you? If you didn't answer no already, then the chances are they are relevant because they're relevant for millions of Americans and it impacts them and their families tremendously. So here's the problem. Our world is constantly demanding of attention with work or school or stress or screens like my terrible phone or interruptions from others or sleep deprivation. And oftentimes we dismiss that, some of which are not our choices. Work is not is mandatory. It's not a choice for us. Some of which are our own choices, like whether you scroll on your phone for a couple of hours. That is your choice, and that's totally preventable. But the point is that our world demands attention with whatever it is in your life. And in this video, we'll discuss why this problem matters and how it affects you and, and why you're at risk for its consequences, solutions, and a summary. And by the end of it, you should have learned the different solutions and have a better understanding of what the problem is. And one of the most important things you can take away is to make sure that you do them without just learning them. Otherwise, what's the point of this video? So I hope you do.
So, to show how this matters, researchers at Johns Hopkins say that they usually identify brain changes associated with Alzheimer's disease and other diseases up to 3 to 10 years, sometimes up to 30 years, but that's rare, before its first recognizable symptoms appear. That means that brain diseases develop quietly and not many people notice. Actually, almost no one notices, but progressively. But there are no cures or nothing like that at this day and age. And we only focus on reaction once we know we have these diseases, not preventing it. So that's why I'm making this video, so that you know what to do before it happens, so that we won't have to focus on it when it already happened. So I'm sure not many viewers are experts in brain diseases, and I'm not expecting you to be. That's why I'm making this video. But to show what I'm talking about, the brain is involved in more than just knowing. It's involved in coordination and moving, so many functions. And brain disease affects memory, movement, and decision making. The big ones are known through millions of people, including Alzheimer's, dementia, cognitive decline, and Parkinson's. But there are over 600 diseases that affect multiple millions of Americans, and they affect their families and their character. So now that we've just gone over the general topic, let's discuss why middle aged men are often more at risk than others. According to Harvard Health, you're more at risk because of a lack of awareness, as many wouldn't notice when their minds are dozing off or if they're experiencing rapid mood swings. Therefore, they would delay diagnosis and not engage with healthcare as much. And that's why I'm making this video, because people need to be more aware of this topic. That way, they would engage with professionals when needed. However, not all of these issues are your fault. An aging population in the United States, as we can see from this pentagon shape in the middle, occurs. These numbers in the middle are ages, and we can see that there are more people in their late 20s and 30s and 40s than there are newborns. In most countries in the world, it's a triangle shape because there are more infants and people in their teenage years than middle aged people. But this pentagon shape we're seeing in the US right now is going to shift up. So it'll become more like an upside down triangle, which is not great. More people are going to have these diseases, which is why they need to be more aware of it. Unlucky genetics, people with a family history are more likely to gain these diseases, which is unfortunate for those who have family members that are affected by it. But it's not your fault. But the last two things are adverse childhood experiences. They make your perspective, let's say, on life more negative, and that leads to extra stress, which chronic stress leads to more harmful proteins being built up in the brain. So now that we've just gone over the problem, let's connect it to the solution. The problem, as we said, is the lack of treatments and education for many, and the rise of an aging population that leads to brain diseases. As shown in the image on the top right, the effects of aging are the reduced lymphatic flow of chemicals that you do want to flow in the brain to keep it stimulated, but the chemicals that do flow are waste, which obviously speaks for itself. It's not great. But according to a couple of studies by the National Institutes of Health, these four healthy habits that I'm about to list later in this video can prevent up to 40% of dementia cases, not just dementia, many diseases. That does have a positive impact on you and your character. The first and probably most important solution we'll learn throughout this video is learning and maintaining that learning style throughout your lifetime. Duke University emphasizes that learning builds cognitive reserve, which, in the simplest terms possible, means the brain's ability to improvise in everything from mobility to learning to a variety of different brain functions. And building cognitive reserve reduces one's risk of cognitive decline significantly. So play a game or start a new hobby and be consistent about it because that's what maintains cognitive reserve throughout your lifetime. And the reason most people don't do this, or at least a significant amount of us don't do it, is because they want to be perfect. And I'm trying to say that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to exercise it. Because all these words on the right, on the top right corner here, are connected in a way. Learning leads to knowledge, knowledge leads to ability, ability leads to competence, and competence leads to growth. So don't worry about perfection. You just have to train your brain that way it stays sharp. And that's how you maintain it. So, solution two that we're going to discuss in this video is to exercise more. Oftentimes, people think of exercise as something that fuels their body, although it also fuels their brain, according to research. Consistent activity is more important than working out for 5 hours a day, which isn't necessary. So, even something as simple as walking for 5 minutes a day or simple weightlifting can significantly lower one's chances of diseases like dementia, because according to researchers, exercise increases blood flow, which we all should know, reduces inflammation in the brain, and supports memory centers. So, exercise is something that fuels both the brain and body. And I don't encourage you to work out for 5 hours a day because that would ruin your consistency because you would likely be tired and just nap for the next day, which would not be good for anyone. So the third critical solution we have in this video is sleeping for 7 or more hours every night, because sleep is when the brain clears harmful waste proteins. I'm not going to say them now, but some of them are on the screen. And when you're awake, they accumulate, and when you're asleep, the brain clears them out. So when you constantly do sleep deprivation, you're allowing it to grow and damage brain cells, increasing your chances of diseases. But when you sleep, it decreases. So, and it's not lazy to sleep at night. It's normal. It's what the body's for. And do not sleep during the daytime because this is the reverse effect. If you don't know how it has the reverse effect, it's hurting your ability to sleep at night. And so taking a 3 hour nap, sometimes for me, when I try it, it limits my sleep at night to only like 2 or 3 hours, which is not great. So don't sleep during the daytime. Just stay awake.
So the fourth and final solution that we'll go over in this video is social engagement. Now, according to Harvard Health, isolation increases cognitive decline, and talking to others stimulates memory and emotions and activates multiple body systems at the same time. It activates the nervous and endocrine systems since it releases oxytocin and reduces stress, and the respiratory system since it obviously involves breathing. I'm not saying to do this with the wrong people because that would be actually detrimental to mental health, but do talk to others when possible because it promotes positivity and a sense of well-being, which lowers chances of Alzheimer's if you have a more positive outlook on your life in general. And not doing so is painful mentally because social engagement is detrimental despite what you believe, and physically because studies show that those who are more isolated don't work out physically as much. So do talk to others when possible. In this slide, I show a 4 sentence summary of what we learned mm, from this whole video. Brain diseases begin often decades before symptoms appear, and they are relevant for millions who struggle with them. Daily choices have a huge role in preventing it. Right now, there is no cure, and no vaccine. So it's important that you avoid it when possible, and you have more control than you realize. You can take these 5 simple steps, and you'll be much more likely to prevent it from happening to you. And it is important that you protect your brain. Okay, now that you've just learned about all that, it's time to take a quiz. And the first question is, why do I emphasize preventive action often decades before your first symptoms appear for brain diseases? See if you can pause the video and answer from these 4 choices. Second question, what is the primary brain health benefit of lifelong learning? Well, this is controversial, but see if you can determine the specific answer from these choices. Now, for question 3, what is the main reason that physical activity lowers dementia risk? Pause the video and see if you can determine what it is from the answer choices. On to question 4, which of these is a key reason that middle-aged men face more brain health risk than other groups? Pause the video and see if you can answer those. And the fifth and last question is, what is the main reason social engagement protects cognitive health? Look at the answer choices and pause the video, see if you can answer.
So here are the answers to all 5 of these questions with explanations provided right after the answers. Make sure to go back to those questions for any reason, including whether you got one wrong or not. And make sure to comment if you have questions or need further explanations because I'm more than willing to do that for you. Thanks for watching our first ever video. Make sure to hit like and subscribe and comment if you have any questions about anything we said in this video. And I might make more videos like this in the future to help you guys out. So be ready for any follow-up videos or shorts that we post on this channel.